To grow the belief system within yourself is to just keep the promises you make to yourself. Like, don't learn how to not negotiate with yourself. You have to tell yourself, I'm going to promise myself that when I don't feel like I'm feeling right now, I'm not going to negotiate with myself. Because a lot of people set these big goals, but they start from the beginning. And that leaves them a path of like a bunch of uncertainty, left, right, upside down, sideways. If you reverse engineer it to where the point where you're like, all right, I know exactly what I have to do today to get closer to that goal. It's a mathematical equation. Everything you ever want in life as far as success comes is on the other side of developing yourself as a person with the right habits, the right discipline.
If in 6 months, the decision you just made is you're going to make your life better, cool. Regardless of what it does the next month, the next 2 weeks, the next 2 months, if it's going to make your life better in 6 months, if it's going to bring you more money, if it's going to bring you more impact, if it's going to get you closer to your 10-year goal in 6 months, do it. How would you, starting something, let's say you started the academy back over, how are you going to map it out and start taking action on that belief?
So it's like what we talked about earlier. It's like,
so if you clicked on this video, welcome back to the Leaders Talk podcast, right? What you are tuning into is a Hometeam podcast where me, Jacob Young, the host of the Leaders Talk podcast, and Alexis Valladares, I'll explain who he is right now in a little bit, sit down and go more in depth on topics such as entrepreneurship, faith, business, sales, self-beliefing, and I have a special topic for you today. And that topic is, let me get it for you, the ultimate 4-step guideline to believing in yourself. Topics like that. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, please feel free to subscribe. But guys, if you guys don't know, here I interview CEOs, politicians, executives, entrepreneurs, athletes, everybody from everybody, and for what, right? So that you can become a better leader. But I think that's enough of the intro. That was a lot of intro.
that was fire.
But guys,
you're getting better at it every single time.
Guys, I'm really excited for this one because, like I said, if you guys don't know who Alexis Valladares is, he is the #1 real estate trainer in the world, owns and operates a group coaching. He pretty much trains realtors all over the world on sales, mindset, objection handling, all that sort of stuff. Has spoken to over how many agents now?
Definitely over 10,000 for sure.
10,000 agents worldwide. He's actually going to Portugal in like 4 days. But guys, Alexis, I don't know how to like properly introduce you.
I mean, bro, I think the goal is to get to the point where you don't have to introduce yourself anymore, right? In the future.
I guess that is a goal.
But I appreciate the introduction. I appreciate this is our #3 home team, right?
Yes, this is. Yeah.
And like he said, guys, our main objective, this is very laid back. I've told Jacob this is a very laid back, very authentic version of us, because you guys always see the reels, you see his vlogs, you see my posts. And we want to give you guys like an insight. Like the plan is to, going forward, do this like on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
Where we give you guys updates on how we're doing on different topics, how like the real raw truth of being an entrepreneur is, and not just what we post, like what is actually going on behind the scenes. What does it take for us to actually put that many posts out in a month? What does it take for us to actually revenue the amount that we revenue every month? And what is the behind the scenes of actual entrepreneurship and not what just people sell out there. So I think today's episode is going to be great. I have no idea what we're talking about, but I know Jacob put something together awesome for you guys. So if you guys are watching right now, stay tuned.
Guys, and another mission statement of ours is to challenge the status quo of faith and business being separated. I don't know if that's his mission statement, but that's my mission statement, definitely in the podcast. But I want to start off with the word of the day. Like I said, the topic of this video, like if you saw it in the thumbnail, if you clicked it, is the ultimate 4-step guide to believing in yourself. I have 4 really interesting, juicy points for you guys that you, by the end of this video, after watching it, will 100% know what you are doing right or doing wrong in order to believe in yourself more and ultimately to bring your goals to reality. But I want to start with the word of the day, which I think you'll like. It's actually, it's really interesting. I think I read this like 2 days ago. It's like, oh, I have to say this. It says this, right? This is 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 11. It said, teach these things and insist that everyone learn them. Don't let anyone think less of you because you are young. Be an example to all believers in what you say, in the way you live, in the way you love, your faith and your purity. So pretty much the context of that scripture was, I guess back then, if you were young and you didn't have experience, hey, don't talk about Jesus, don't talk about God, you don't know anything, just stay quiet, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was, who's the author of this? I should know this. It's Paul. Paul was the author of this, and that's what he wrote. And I say this because on the topic of believing in yourself, I think it's comforting to have the word of God literally tell you that just because you are young, don't let anybody downplay you. that it doesn't matter your age. Ultimately, what matters is the way you live, the way you love, your faith, and your purity.
I agree.
It's really powerful to open up with. I don't know if you have any thoughts
For two
on that.
young leaders, I think it's important to know that we can lead at a young age.
100%.
For me, like my thought process was like, if you have the knowledge, if you have the experience, and you have the value to the marketplace, doesn't matter what age you are. You know, like you're 18 years old and you're doing a better job than 99% of people that are 35 plus. So
I hope so. I'm trusting God. Sometimes I feel like, I don't know, I had that like moment like 2 days ago where, I don't know, just like a cloud of doubt in my mind. I'm like, damn, bro, but like, what if I do this? Or what if this doesn't work out? What if blah, blah, what if this? I don't know. Sometimes in those periods, it's just best to not only seek advice from others, but have a little bit of grace with yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's what we could use a lot more, you listening,
yeah.
is a little bit more grace. Like, we're moving with such a high sense of urgency that a lot of times the success doesn't move with urgency. Like, you have to operate every day with a sense of urgency on the task you need to do, on your mission, on chipping away. But that's not the way the success, the monetization, the money, that's not how it works. It usually takes a lot longer
Right.
than the work that you're putting in today. So that patience and that gap is like sometimes clouded without. But
I don't know if that's a topic you want to get into, but that's a very relevant topic right now.
I think we'll do a whole nother podcast.
You're
on
giving
that.
yourself grace and
That is another topic.
kind of reflecting on how far you've come. And bro, it's just not easy. I don't know. People probably see it from the outside and they're like, oh, these guys just like any high level entrepreneur, like whatever they're showing you. Like I watched a video on PBD today that someone sent me where it was like, you know, they see the cars, they see the flashy, they see the success once you get there at the top of the mountain, but they have no idea what went into getting to the top of the mountain. Like how much rejection, how much, what you just talked about, self-doubt. Like I can't tell you how many nights I just go to sleep like, am I even on the right track? Am I even getting close? Did I chip away? But when we do what we just did now on the whiteboard and we put it on paper, we're like, dude, we did so much.
Yeah.
But like when you're doing that much output, it does, I don't know, it's weird. It doesn't feel like you're doing that much.
There was actually something that I saw on that topic. Guys, I'm going to get to the first point after this. It was Alex Ramosi. He said, what are the 3 traits of the most hyper-successful people? The first one was they put in so much work and still think that they're not putting in.
That's number one.
Like, you think you're doing so much. Is that even enough? Is that really enough? First point. Second point, I believe, was like they're crazy to other people. Like,
yeah,
like either people judge them or they're like outcasts of society. And I forgot what number 3, the exact word, because I want to give it to you verbatim. What was number 3? It'll come back to me. It'll come to God's will. It's going to come back to me. But the more of it was exactly what you just said, that I think that is a trait of a lot of hyper successful people. That you're doing so much work and am I still doing enough?
Mm-hmm.
Like, am I still making progress? And that's why I think you have to give yourself grace and also look at the leaderboard, look at the track.
Yeah.
Okay, what did we do this month? Kind of like what we just did.
Yeah.
But I want to get into the first point, right? Guys, point number 1, where your belief comes from matters. That's point number 1. Now, I'm going to explain that. The reason that I say that is because whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you are looking to develop into your career, whatever your industry is, I think self-belief is almost 50, 60, 70% of the battle, because there's years, there's months, there's weeks of nothing happening. And in that period, it's really like, well, what's going to keep you going? And a lot of it is a self-belief, and another point that we're going to touch on. But where your belief system comes from is very important. Explain it now. If your belief comes from people telling you, hey, keep going, hey, you're doing such a good job, that's going to quickly run out. Very quickly run out. If your belief comes from the outcome, very quickly run out. Yep, very quickly run out. You have a couple good months, you get a couple good clients, you get that one good job, you get the promotion, that belief system's done. But when that belief system comes from not only inside, but comes from you going through consecutive periods of very dark times, of very, is this really for me times, that is where this belief system is at its strongest. That is where your self-belief needs to come from. So that's why I say the first point. But I also want to ask you, where do you think your belief comes from?
It's a good question. Where do I think my belief comes from?
Because I also want to explain, to give a backstory really quick. You guys will get to know us more as a podcast, but just to give a backstory, you're an entrepreneur since you're young. Me too. You started off selling chargers, boards, car washes, realtor, everything. You touch on everything, but every aspect, you've always done it something to make money on your own. Kind of had the same situation with Cloud9, with the Pokemon, with the shoes. We're now the marketing agency. But I want to ask you, where do you think your belief comes from?
I really don't know, to be honest with you. Like, the best way to answer that question is, ever since I was a kid, this is a topic that's like tough because some people say you're born with it, but I don't like to think that. Like, I think that everything that you do is acquired. But I don't know, maybe it was my parents or just the people that I grew up around, but every time I did something, I talked about this today in the training that I had, I thought I was the best. Or at least I stepped into the court field, competition, business, thinking and aiming to be the best. Undoubtedly, like, I'm going to do this perfect. I'm going to be the best at it. Who is the best at it right now? And how can I emulate them as much as possible? And then that I always had that self-belief. Like, I always, like, people told me, like, oh, you can't do it. I'd be like, oh, okay, watch. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, like I was always the smallest kid playing baseball. Didn't throw hard. Didn't really play to other people's level until I was like, hey, look, I don't care what you say. I'm going to be the best and I'm going to become the best. And like you said, if it comes from the external, it's going to run out. It came always from the internal. I really don't know where it came from, but ever since I was a kid, I always thought I was going to be the best at whatever I did. And that mentality just like, instead of like comparing myself to average, I always compare myself to the best. So whenever I was doing really good, I still felt like that feeling of like, I'm not doing enough. Because my comparison wasn't to the average population. My comparison was to the best of the best of the best every single time.
So, two things that I took from what you said. I feel like there's like a therapy session, like, right there, like,
yeah.
But two things that I took from what you said. Number one, you don't need to focus so hard on if you believe or not when you first start. I think it's more of, do you have an idea? Do you have some type of a strategy to bring it to life? Okay, cool. You don't have to believe. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about the how. Just start. It's kind of what I'm hearing from you in between the lines. And number two, this is a question that I wanted to ask you. For those people out there, right, that ultimately I think stuff compounds. I think it was Einstein that said it, that compound interest is the seventh or eighth wonder of the world.
I don't know
how many wonders.
Yeah.
Seventh or eighth wonder in the world. And I think that's how kind of self-belief works. When you stack up enough wins, you start to believe. Mm-hmm. For you, is there any maybe strategies, maybe tips or something to grow that belief system in you?
Yeah, I think the simplest way to put that, to grow the belief system within yourself, is to just keep the promises you make to yourself. Like, don't learn how to not negotiate with yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because the second, when you set out to do something, you're usually at a high point. When you're setting goals, when you're ambitious, when you're like, oh, I'm going to crush this month, I'm going to do this, I'm going to take on a new career. Like, in that moment, you're at a peak. But you have to tell yourself, I'm going to promise myself that when I don't feel like I'm feeling right now, I'm not going to negotiate with myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, this goes back to an entire strategy of goal setting. Anything you ever set out to do, you have to, first of all, like, reverse engineer it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to become the best realtor in the world, what does that even look like, right? What does the best realtor in the world make on a yearly basis? How many units do they sell? Where do they sell these units? What kind of people are they lead generating? You have to map out a lot of things. Like, everything that I've done in my life that's been successful started with a goal. And then from there, I reverse engineered into actionable right now steps, right? And the way to break that down is, like, let's say you want to make $1 million selling homes, right? That's the goal, $1 million selling homes. You got to, like, because a lot of people set these big goals, but they start from the beginning. And that leaves them a path of, like, a bunch of uncertainty, left, right, upside down, sideways. If you reverse engineer it to where the point where you're like, all right, I know exactly what I have to do today to get closer to that goal, it's a mathematical equation.
That's interesting that you said it. So
you know what I'm saying?
You don't when you set out for a goal, when you set out for something, also you require self-belief in yourself. You don't start with the beginning in mind. You start with the end.
I start with the end in mind. I reverse engineer. I make a excuse me. I make a commitment to myself where I understand that I'm not going to feel like doing it most of the time, right? You map out what are the things that you have to do, how often do you have to do it, how effectively do you have to do them. You figure out who you're going to learn from, and then you just don't negotiate with yourself. That is why it took me a while to become somewhat successful, because I would keep negotiating with myself when failure came about. Bro, it's really simple. Just don't give up. When it gets hard, know that you're doing something right, because there's resistance. Break through that resistance. You're going to hit a path of clean air, like in a plane, right? When you're hitting turbulence and you break through that rough air, you're going to hit a patch of clear air. When you're in that patch of clear air, don't take it for granted. Prepare yourself for the rough air, because it's going to come again, and just don't give up when it gets rough, bro. That's like the simplest way to put it. But like the mathematical, strategical breakdown of it is find your goal, get very detail oriented. Bro, I used to have PDFs of pages breaking down exactly how I was going to execute a goal. I had like 30-year plans.
Actually, pin that thought, because I think what's really important, and you'll see if the next point. Yeah, we'll get to that. I think point number 3. Let me actually write that down, because I believe there's power in not only in order to develop that belief system in yourself, where you start to become delusional, where you start to almost talk it. Like there's a lot of conversation that we have in the car multiple times, even your business, a podcast, everything that we just speak it.
I think it's already happening.
Yeah, that to be natural, I think comes through a lot of writing, comes through a lot of journaling, comes through a lot of visualizing, comes through a lot of strategizing. And that's when you start to begin that you tap into that unconscious or subconscious belief system.
Right. You just naturally believe.
You have to like, okay, I have to believe it will happen. Like it just happens because of various different things that we'll get to in point 3. But something that I find really interesting, that self-belief comes from not negotiating with yourself when times are hard. Now,
it builds confidence, bro. Can I say that real quick? Like when you do something when you don't want to do it, like whenever I walk out of the gym, as simple as that, like it really starts as simple as that, like self-development. Like that's what I learned also, not to get super sidetracked, but everything you ever want in life as far as success comes is on the other side of developing yourself as a person with the right habits, the right discipline. When you walk out of the gym, knowing the mental battle, because it's not downplay. Like when you wake up that alarm clock goes off at 5 and you're tired as hell and you don't want to get up, and you finally walk out of the gym having done the workout, done the cold plunge, the sauna, and you feel that accomplished, knowing that you didn't want to do it, that builds like a level of self-belief and confidence. Like, damn, that wasn't that hard. That way, when the alarm clock goes off again, you're like, I can do it. You know what I'm saying? I can get through this. And in business, when things get hard and you push through and you make it on the other side, it builds confidence, because you're like, shit, that was hard. I thought it was going to be really difficult, but I actually did it. It wasn't that bad.
And I want to really emphasize what you just said, and also add something to it, that, guys, you don't have to do something like that every day. Wake up 5, go to a cold plunge. No, you don't have to do that to develop your self-belief. And that's the interesting part about it. All you have to do is kind of like what you said, set out to do something and just do it. Just do it. That's it. You don't have to, okay, I have to hit 10K this month. And if I don't hit it, then I don't believe in myself. No. It's set out something very small. I'm just going to make my bed this morning. I'm going to make eggs every morning. I'm going to go to the gym for 15 minutes when I can every day for the first 2 weeks. Like little things like that. And I think once you start to do those little things, that's when more self-belief comes. More self-belief.
So staggering.
And the reciprocal of self-belief is you start to build trust in yourself. So now you can set out for something and you'll trust yourself to do it. Instead of, I'm gonna put my alarm for 5 o'clock. And but Jacob, realistically, you're not gonna wake up for that. Just don't even put that. That's where you start negotiating with yourself. So I think that
all ties back into sales.
It does. Well,
there's so many different topics that come up.
We can go on to. I want to get into the next point because I think you're gonna really like it.
So
let's actually. I want to stay on this really quick because I had something I was gonna say. The non-negotiating aspect of it.
Right.
What I was saying, the reciprocal of that non-negotiation, you start to build more trust. But another thing, and I want to get your mind on this because I know this is something that you've said multiple times in your training, is that self-belief does not come from you looking in the mirror and saying, okay, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best. I don't think it does. You can push back a little bit. I'd love to hear your feedback, but I think it really does come from various different trials of good and bad things. It comes from you understanding, like you said, that you're not going to negotiate with yourself. As little as it may be, as hard as it may be, as tired as it may be, you're not going to negotiate with yourself. And I think through those things, stacked up, compounded, then that's when you start to develop this belief in yourself. But I don't think it comes from anything that didn't have results, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't come from like just looking in the mirror and saying, yo, I'm the best, I'm the number one real estate trainer. I think it just comes from a lot of trials and a lot of results. I don't know, you can...
I think it's a combination of both. Because obviously...
I'm not excluding it, but I'm just saying...
No, I think when you want to become the best, you got to tell yourself you're the best. But then to avoid imposter syndrome, you have to start acting like the best, right? So if you tell yourself you're the best, you're going to ask yourself, well, what is actually the best? And then you're going to start doing the things that the best do. And that's when trial and tribulation is going to come about. And when you get over that, that's when you actually start becoming the best. You know what I'm saying? Like, it all starts though with looking in the mirror and saying, I'm the best.
Let me ask you,
even though you're completely delusional, we'll say that.
Those people that you did study, because you mentioned you did study a lot of people, the people that you did study that were the best we wanted to be, what were some common traits that they had?
Lack of any kind of attachment to anybody's opinion, complete disregard to the public's opinion, complete internal fortitude in the sense of your opinion does not matter. I am right. I'm going to do it. I see it. I don't care what you say. I don't care what my current results say. I am the best. Number one, the utter self-belief and delusion, right? Not caging their dreams in a box and saying like, this is my capacity. This is my maximum just because my environment is this or my current results are this. This is what I'm capable of. They always dreamt as big as possible. If failure wasn't an option and it was a video game and you could just design it however you wanted to, how would you have it? And that's what they would vocalize, right? And that's what they would set their standard to. And then just, bro, as cliche as it sounds, just don't give up. Yeah. Just don't give up and understand that a lot of shit's going to come with it. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody that I study, all these people like, you know, Jake Paul and Conor McGregor, I mention them a lot, Russ. I mention them a lot because they always say on the flip side when they actually made it, like, hey, look, it's not really what you thought it was going to be. It comes with a lot of other stuff. So really do it for the right reasons. But all those people, like the biggest thing they have in common is that, remember what we've talked about is like from when you start to when you get what you want, there's a massive time frame that has to go about, and the level of resistance from the public and your surroundings is going to be incredible. So most people never get through that because they don't learn how to negate others' opinions. It's not about not taking advice or not listening to people. It's about who are you listening to. If you're Conor McGregor and you want to be the double champ, and someone that has never been the double champ tells you what to do, why are you going to listen? If my goal is to become the number one real estate sales trainer and someone that is on Instagram on the other side of a screen that has no more than 10 followers, it's not about followers, but that has no idea what my practice is or what is good or bad in my field, they're going to tell me that I suck. Do you think I'm going to listen to them? Absolutely not. But if the number one sales trainer in the world says, hey, brother, you're doing something wrong, you should maybe correct it, you bet your ass I'm going to listen to them. So like, well, it's very simple. Once you channel your energy and you understand what the mission is, the only people that should have any relevance in what you take as advice should be the people that have what you want. That's it. And that's the hardest part, bro, because the people that start giving you the critiques in the beginning are who? Your friends and family.
Oh, wait, but they speak in a good way or bad?
In a bad way. Okay. Remember, like when you set out for that big, massive goal, like when I sat my mom down at 17 and I was like, hey, mom, by the way, I have no idea how I'm going to do this, but I told her, I'm going to speak on stages one day. I have no idea about what, but I want to help entrepreneurs one day do what I'm doing, which is just simply overcoming the fear of everybody else's opinion and just chasing my dreams. Because at that point, there was no success. I said, one day I'm going to influence these people. I don't know how I'm going to do it. But that period of time of that delusion, it was like everybody around me that I cared about, that at that point I did care about their opinion, those were the ones that were giving me resistance. So most people will never make it through. Most students that I try to onboard that are young, they're like, nah, man, but I just got to ask my parents about it. I don't know if I should make this move. I don't know if I should drop out of college. I don't want to do college, but I don't know if I should do it. Like, they're just scared to make these decisions because they're listening to people that don't have what they want to have.
You know, that's crazy. God is good, because I think you're going to like the next one when I said it. The next one is, people can either grow or destroy your belief. That's crazy that you said that.
Yeah, exactly.
People can either grow or destroy your belief, and I'll explain that. Kind of like what we said on the last thing, your vision. If you tell your dream to somebody that doesn't understand, that has never achieved, never had that feeling of setting out for something that had no roadmap to it, that had no college 4-year outline to it, and accomplished it and felt that feeling, very hard for them to say, yeah, go ahead and pursue that vision that you have. Yeah, go ahead and put that risky business and go work for it. Very hard to do that. But on the reciprocal, I think people can grow your belief. I'm a firm believer that, I don't want to say your network is your net worth because it's a little cliche, but it is true.
Super true.
But I also think this, I want to word it a little bit better. I think ultimately, once you know what you want, once you're 100% solid on, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and I believe in myself because this is what I'm going to do, and I know I'm going to do it. I know you start to attract people. And those are the people that are going to ultimately grow your belief system in you. But let me ask you, right? I'm going to assume you had people that started to grow that belief in you. They're like, yo, you're going to be the number one. Kind of like Mark Anthony. Like, he always goes, yo, you're the Jordan of this. You're the
yeah.
It's like, maybe it's him that you want to talk about. But have you had a person that has believed in yourself almost the way that you did, that you're like, damn, he sees my crazy vision? And if so, what did you learn from him?
Can I be honest?
You can be honest.
He's you and him are really the only two people since I started sales training that really believe that I can get to where I know I'm going to get to.
How important is that though? Like, have you seen any?
It's not important to me.
It's not important, but let me ask you this. It may not be important because with or without, I think you're going to keep going.
100%.
But has it helped you? Has it affected you? Has it strengthened your self-belief a little bit? Has it had any?
No, bro. I don't want to sound like I don't want to sound like, does it mean a lot to me? Yeah. It means a lot to me that other people that are close to me that invest so much time into, like, especially you, that invest so much time into the vision. It means a lot to me. But does it dictate my intrinsic self-belief? No, because it's internal. Like that video that I always go back to when I'm having doubts, Conor McGregor in the car, he's like, it's internal. Fuck the external. I don't want friends in this game. I don't want any outsiders. No outsiders, just me and my team, focused, locked in. So I think it is important to have the people around you that believe the vision, because there's no point if you have someone on your team literally being like, bro, what are you doing? You're not going to get there. But I don't think it's a make or break for me. Like, I think that's why so many people have been weeded out in my team, in our team, over the last 18 months, because no one has really had that belief. Like, they're like, yeah, bro, like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? But like Mark, he's like, dog, you are the fucking Michael Jordan of sales training. I've never really had someone be that vocal about it, bro. And I appreciate him for that. But that is how I am.
Yeah, and I think,
no,
but that's important.
It's super important. But
say it like that because you're right.
I don't want to rely on anybody for it, bro.
Exactly. And
you know what I'm saying?
It has to come from the internal, but also you don't think you have to exclude every person that believes in you, because I do believe the people that do believe in that vision that you have, keep them close.
Can help you get there faster.
Exactly.
100%.
But also keep your enemies closer. There's a reason why that is. I want to talk about that a little bit later. Pin that thought. But I want to share a story because it's something that I'm living right now. A lot of people that I'm interviewing, these CEOs, all these different people, always say the same thing. And they low-key boost me up a little bit. Like, damn, you're 18, you're doing what you're doing. Even you tell me, Mark Anthony, everybody tells me the same thing, and it adds to it. And I want to say, I think most people can take it one or two directions. Or maybe I don't want to say most people. I'm saying I think I could take it one or two directions. Oh, yeah. So 18 and you think I'm doing this, you think I'm going to kill it? Or you're saying my future's bright? Or you're saying this? Awesome. And just trust, oh, yeah, my future's going to be bright. Without realizing, you're going to have to put a lot more work, double the work that you put in. You have to go harder while they're still praising you. because I think that's the most dangerous place to be. When people are praising you and you're still like,
I'm good.
am I turning off? Like,
That's a good place to be.
You know what I'm saying? That's an amazing place to be because you don't get complacent. You don't get complacent and, yo, you're killing it, bro. You're 18. You're interviewing this guy. Bro, you're killing it, bro. Even if you go to 50% of what you're doing, you're still going to be good. Like, no, it's true. I think you have to keep your foot on the pedal regardless of who believes in you. And if they do believe in you, if people are praising you, if people are saying, hold up, you're 19, making this much money, and you're 27, killing it on stages. Wow, bro, keep going. Keep going.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is, bro. Like in the midst of the praise, because it's going to happen, bro. It's going to happen. It's happened to me. It's happened to you. It's happened to everybody in this world. You have a moment of praise where people start to realize, oh, you're killing it, bro. Your social media, you're killing it. But you can't let that almost make you complacent. You can't suck up. You can't drink your own Kool-Aid, however they say it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know your thoughts on that.
I think it's very dangerous for someone like you. The way you handle it is very admirable because imagine you're 18, bro. You're better than literally 90. I don't want to say the word better, but you're more advanced in what you're doing than 99.999% of people your age and older than you. So it's very easy for someone like that's accomplishing what you're accomplishing to just be like, I'm good. Let me take the foot off the gas, right? But that's why me and you are going to get to the levels we're going to get to, because I don't even hear that, bro. I don't even hear the praise. Like I don't like a lot like Daniel G says, right? Like when he goes on stage, he's like, oh, shut up. Like I don't really care about that. There was a point in time where like the hoorah rah, right? Or whatever you call it was like a little important to me, and it made me feel a kind of a certain way. Yeah. But I don't really care about it anymore. And sometimes I think about it, and it's a good thing because I can keep going. But sometimes it's like, give yourself grace, because everything that you wanted to live out 5 years ago, you're living out right now. So don't ruin the moment either. You know what I'm saying? Bro, I don't know. We definitely got to unpack a lot of things because I'm in a very confusing place, to be honest, in my entrepreneurship career, because on paper, you know, I'm the most successful I've ever been in the sense of like true meaningful things like impact, right? Like we're daily getting the text messages from people like, yo, we closed this deal. We did that. We're growing because of you, X, Y, and Z. We're in a point financially where we're growing, but we're in the infant stage, right, of the business, right? We're like in the first year and a half of growth, and we're growing so rapidly that we're reinvesting so heavily that, you know, there's not like people on the outside probably think that we're, you know, have a bunch of money. Like there's a lot of money coming in, a lot of money going out. So I don't know. I'm at a crossroads, bro. Like I'm at a place in time where the life that I live now is the exact life that I dreamt about 5 years ago, but it doesn't feel how I thought it would feel. It's weird. I don't know, bro. You get so caught up in the day to day that
but also
it's a good thing and a bad thing. It's just what it is. It comes with the territory.
No, that I think that comes back to everything that we just talked about. That you're always gonna feel, I think, the reciprocal of what's actually happening.
That's what we just talked about. Winners, though. Yeah. The winners never feel like they're doing enough, bro. Have you've seen that reel where it's like the football coach?
But I also think that you always feel the reciprocal of anything that's actually happened in the moment. When you have a girlfriend, you want to start hooking up with a girl. When you're making so much money, you're like, damn it, but am I making enough? When you're not making money, I need to make money. There's always a reciprocal.
It's a good ground
to it. So I also think that you can't base the decisions that you make based on how you feel.
Super important.
It is important because, and I'm speaking to myself a lot because it says in the Bible, the heart is deceitful above all else. Your heart is always going to say, oh, but you could be doing more. You're not making enough, but you're doing it, which, yeah, that's fine. You have to grow. But you also have to like factually look at the month, look at the things that you done and say, okay, what did we do? And not say, yo, we're complacent, we're doing amazing, but have realization. Because when you do get caught up in that day-to-day, when you do get caught up in the calls, when you do get caught up in the social media posts, you forget the things that you've actually accomplished, bro.
Right.
There's a lot of things that we actually accomplished, from the sales team to you getting the credit, everything, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of stuff that's happened that, like I told you,
we just overlook.
Yeah, overlook, and it's because I think we judge it based on the monetary aspect. And a lot of times the things that we do are going to pay future dividends, but they're not going to pay today, like with investments, right? So you can't look at it the present value. You have to look at the future value.
That's a nugget for you guys, right?
So if think about it, if in 6 months the decision you just made is you're going to make your life better, cool. Regardless of what it does the next month, the next 2 weeks, the next 2 months, if it's going to make your life better in 6 months, if it's going to bring you more money, if it's going to bring you more impact, if it's going to get you closer to your 10-year goal in 6 months, do it. You know what I'm saying? That's a nugget. I'm serious. That's a nugget.
That's right there. That's a viral clip.
You got to stop saying viral clips because then people think we're just... No, but seriously, bro.
But don't you feel it like in the... I let you finish. That's why. Don't you feel it in the air when it's coming out?
No, bro. You know what I've learned, bro? And I'm learning more as more.
You're just having fun with it, bro.
Because, bro, if you look at our first podcast that we did, you know it has 500 views, right?
Really?
Pretty crazy. Wow. 500 views on YouTube. That's 500 people that watched it for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, but I mean, does it count by like how long it was watched for?
Yeah, I think the average time was like 15 minutes. So a lot.
Yeah, that's crazy because like in 5 years we're gonna have like millions of units and we're gonna be like raving over 500. But at one point we didn't have one. So
yeah, but bro, look, I think it just.
Well, you were just talking about something, bro. What you just said was so important. What did you just say right now? Literally
Now you're on the train of thought. You're in the train of thought. Look, the point that I'm getting to, because I want to get back to the point, is that you can't, like, the more of everything that I just said that we just talked about is that you can't respond to your feeling, the way you feel, the way that, look at the facts, look at the statistics, look at how you did month to month, look at what you did, and then from there improve. Then from there, look at the board and say, okay, what did we not do? What can we do? And then fix and tweak and tweak. That's the game, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole game. What did you do this month? Okay, what can we do better? And what do we need to cut out? That's the game. Every month. We should do it. Every single month.
Boom.
What do we need to cut out? What do we need to do better? Boom. What do we need to cut out? What do we need to do better? And once you start getting like that, bro, it doesn't matter how you feel. It's what's actually happening. What's actually happening is problems. That's how it is.
I wanna emphasize real quick,
please,
for the viewers, right? Like
our family. We're gonna call them our family.
Our family. Like, if you guys actually, like, if we put on paper, right, everything that we did this month, these people would think we're, like, absolute robots, right? But at least look at my face, right? Like, it's the end of the month. We just did a recap. Like, I'm grateful for what we did this month, but I'm also, like, I felt like we could have done so much more. I felt like so much more could have been processed, implemented, executed.
And a lot of times, sorry to cut you off, just really, really quick, a lot of times that feeling is very right, too. You could be doing a lot more. So it's not that it's a wrong feeling. It's a very true feeling. You could be doing a lot more. There was leaks, but
for sure,
time, you don't have to like kill yourself for it.
For sure. The point that I wanted to make is like the reason why we feel this way is because we're not comparing ourselves in an unhealthy way, but not even to other people. I feel like to our future selves. Like, I'm always comparing myself to what I want my future self to be. And like, I have such a high standard for myself that what I do is never enough. And it's just never going to be enough. It's never going to be enough. And I feel like that's something that the winners in this video that are watching have to take away, that winning doesn't feel like winning. When you're actually winning, you don't feel like you're winning. Everything that I've ever gained or everything that I've ever accomplished, with my mentality, the reason why I got there was because when I was putting in the work to get there, I never felt complacent. Like you know how it says like winners do everything they possibly can to win and they still never feel like they're doing enough, but losers do one thing and they like hold on to that one thing forever. Like those people that are like still like screaming on their wins about in 2019, 2020, I did this and that, and they posted like, oh, remember TBT in 2020. It's like, bro, I don't even talk about the wins that I did last week. When do we publicize the wins that we have, right? We don't sit on that shit, bro. We just move on. So I want to share this with you guys that are watching. If you truly want to embrace what a winner is, a winner doesn't sit on their wins. They celebrate, they clap, they go, today we made a massive accomplishment that we're not even fucking celebrating. We're like, good shit, on to the next. Sold my property.
Oh, yeah.
A great accomplishment, right? Sold my property, profited off of it, great. But it's like, I don't know, bro. Like that to me 3 years ago would have been like a massive go out, celebration, vacation. Now it's like, all right, that's another paradise. Like, let's go, let's keep going.
I think everything's phases too.
Phases, but I want to emphasize that when you get to a point where you're really like going to get to the top 1% of your space, like not just 1%, like 1% of 1% of one, like the best in the world, it's going to feel like a whole lot of losing, but you're actually winning, if that makes sense.
The third point of the ultimate guide, 4-step guide to believing in yourself is faith without works is dead. Meaning, it doesn't matter how much you believe in yourself if you don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
I think that's one of, if not the most important thing. Faith without works is dead. So no matter how much you believe in yourself, your belief can never outwork your actual work, bro. Like,
right.
Because you believe in yourself doesn't mean anything's going to happen. You have to start acting on that belief. And the way that you act on that belief is by killing it every day, by going at the task every single day. And I want to give you a thought on that, because I think one of the biggest struggles is getting started, right? And I want to specifically talk about the people who they believe in themselves. They know that, man, I know this vision that I have for the podcast, for the business, for school, for my career. I see that it's real, but just don't know where to start. I don't know the work that I need to do right now. How would you, starting something, let's say you started the academy back over, you have the vision, know you're going to do that.
Tell you exactly how it started.
How are you going to map it out and start taking action on that belief system?
So it's like what we talked about earlier. It's like literally, what is the vision? What is the end goal, right? Dream as big as you possibly can, and then reverse engineer, right? How long is it going to take you to get to that goal? What do you have to do to get there? Write it all down. And then literally you're going to get to the bottom and say, all right, this is the first thing I have to do is open the LLC. The second thing I have to do is create the logo, create the name, the colors. You know, what is my objective? Who's my client? How do I have to get them? Post the first video, do the first event, call the first client. You know what I'm saying? Like the reason why people never get to that taking action, and I'll build up on what you said about self-belief, is because they don't detail the plan. They set the goal and they try to start from the beginning instead of starting from the end. You have to start from the end. That way you know, okay, so if year 5 looks like this, year 4 looks like that, year 3 looks like that, year 2 looks like that, year 1 looks like this, month 6, month 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, week 1, day 1. That's what it looks like. And then you go adjusting as you go from there. But the self-belief starts by believing that you can do it, but the self-belief increases in volume by actually putting things into action, like you just said. Like chipping away at the actual one and saying, oh, wow, I'm actually kind of good at this, and getting better and practicing and being relentless. And brother, it's every single podcast that you guys are watching. If you're on this journey and you're watching us, everybody else that's ultra successful says the same shit.
Yeah.
But I think it's really all about one thing, bro. Who are you when it's not easy to fucking do? Like that is the one thing that I always go back to. The guys that are ultra successful, when they set out the goal or the mission, they were super hyped up. But the truth about entrepreneurship is long nights, early mornings, failure, rejection. You're an outcast, you're an outsider, you're crazy, you're delusional, opinions from others. That's what most people can't combat. They're not equipped mentally enough. The goal wasn't strong enough in their mind to start, and they negotiate with themselves eventually. Bro, how many people set out to do no one really signs up to be number 2. Think about that. Anybody in my industry, sales training, no one signed up to be a sales trainer and said, I'm going to be just another sales trainer. I guarantee you most of them were like, I'm going to be number 1. But to actually get to a number 1 position, it's not about talent. It's about doing the things that you know you're supposed to do when you don't want to do them and when it's hard to do them. And I can tell you that I do it 99.9% of the time when I don't want to do it. That's the only reason why I will be the number 1 sales trainer. That's the only reason why you will be the number 1 marketer, the number 1 content agency in the world, is because we don't listen to our feelings. But that is much easier said than done.
Yeah. And I think the plus to faith without works is that self-belief that you have usually in the beginning runs out very quickly if you don't start to work. If you don't start to prove to yourself that you are the person you say you are, you can do the things you say you can do, because you actually have a micro success, because you feed off of that. It's like, it's exactly like that. I don't have like an analogy that I can pinpoint, but it's like that. You kind of feed off of those micro successes.
Yeah.
And they kind of, okay, I really can't do this. You know what I'm saying? You go months, a couple of weeks, so like, damn, I can't close. And then a day that you close 10,000. Okay. It just keeps you in check. Oh, yeah, I can't really do this. And then just a little thing. And I think when you have that self-belief, especially when you start, because I think that's when it's the most on fire, oh my gosh, I want to take action. I want to take action. You start writing it out. You start doing all this stuff. The longer you wait to take action on that initial vision that you had belief in yourself to do, it's like a battery life of that belief. And then starts going down.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start, yeah, it was just an idea I had. It's nothing crazy. Just I had an idea.
Well, you see right there, that self-talk. You can't outperform that. Exactly. The second you start, which starts with the self-belief, if you didn't take action, you start then talking like, whatever. But if you continue that, like that self-talk is so important, bro. Like that little topic that you just mentioned right there. Like today I was at a training and someone was like, oh, okay, I'm just a brand new agent. Like I've only been in it for a few months. And I was like, that's not how I was talking when I was in it for a few months. To me, I was an experienced veteran agent, right? I put the skills under my belt. I did the work. I did the research. And on month 3, I was already talking like a veteran. I was never going to outperform the thought like everybody else had that, I'm a new agent. I'm just here. I'm learning, I'm learning the ropes. That to me, like, fascinates me how people walk around talking like that.
So how do you switch that mindset of like thinking, bro, I just started, like, how do you like
do the work? Read the books. Long nights, early mornings, reading, learning, implementing, executing, failing. I tell the story all the time. When I got into the first office, the first brokerage, they put a book. I go to the person. I go, look, I have a 90-day goal, right? Back to goal setting. I have a 90-day goal to get out of my current job. I need money now. I don't have money. I can't invest into leads. Who can I call? What can I do? Just show me what to do to get money now. They go, here's a script book for sale by owners. It's free. You can call them. They're very difficult. Good luck. What do most people do? They go through it. They read the script. They're like, okay, this is good. Like, I'll read this. And then next week I'll start calling, right? They make a couple calls. Goes really bad. Maybe that's not for me. I'm going to try something else. The difference between that and me was that day one, I opened the book, 30 minutes. I read through the scripts. And then on the 31st minute, I picked up the phone and I started calling people. And I call people all day. No success. But I started writing down like, okay, this wasn't working. This line didn't work. They're being a little bit unreceptive to this. The main objection on these calls is typically this. And I started taking notes. And then on day 2, it was like a Wolf of Wall Street scene. I was there till like 7 p.m. and there was like 4 guys, 5 guys. And I closed like 3 appointments back to back to back. And it was like how the fuck did you do that scene from Wolf of Wall Street?
I know.
But like how long did it take me from idea to execution? There was no fear of failure. Because most of those calls that I made throughout those 2 days, 3 days, 4 days were failures. But I got to those appointments because of the speed, like the quickness to getting to the actual execution, the notes, the studying. Like I went home those days and that triggered me. I was like, I want to watch videos on this. I want to study every person that's doing really good at this right now. And that's how I became dominant within that FISBO space, by just becoming obsessive with becoming the best at dominating that, not being afraid to take action, taking immense action repetitively, even throughout failure. And then let's fast forward how we are a sales trainer now.
I think, no, actually, I want to share a story. I want to get a little bit vulnerable because the way that I get some of the people for the podcast is that I pay for a CM that, well, my dad was helping me pay, now I have to pay for a CM that it gives you names and numbers of every CEO in the world.
That's crazy.
From Jeff Bezos to the local bakery owner on 57th Street, whatever it may be. And I had the numbers. But bro, I think it's been like 6 months that I didn't like really take action. I know what's this. And bro, the first day, I think it was like a month ago, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, the first day I was like, you know what? Just do it, bro. Let's stop brushing it off. Let's just run it up. Call it. I just call like 10 people, bro. You don't need to like, in this, like, what I'm going to start doing is building not almost like a sales system, but not really. Just people that can get me the numbers, people that maybe text them and I just call. I'm like, hey, by the way, look, I have a podcast, whatever. But what I realized that the second that I stopped thinking so much, like I literally, like, bro, I don't know why there's a fear, like that green button right before. There's every thought in your mind is like, but you're not prepared enough. Hold on, what are you going to say? Hold on, what are you going to do? And the second that you click it, nothing. Your mind is thoughtless. And then the answer, you just talk, bro. And that's how it was for me. And I think that happens not only in a references, because it's something that I've recently experienced, but it's not only with cold calling or something, it's with anything. The more that you think on it, the more that you wait to take action, the more that you chip away at that self-belief, the more that you start to talk yourself out of it. But the second that you have that idea, and then from idea to execution, you can lessen that gap. That's when the magic starts to happen.
Right.
That's when stuff like you learn quicker, you speed up the process, and then not only that, you start to instill more belief in yourself than you already have. So you're compounding already from the initial belief that you had in yourself from the get-go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think that's a great story, because what you just brought up is now another topic, which we call momentum.
Mm.
Like Andrew Tate says this a lot, like, when he talks about speed, why can a plane fly in the air? Because it's going so fast. Gravity's not going to knock it down. What you're talking about is building momentum. Once you build that sales momentum of like doing things, activity within your business, it's very hard to stop. But once you stop, it's very hard to start. So even if you're failing or whatever, you're getting essentially feedback. Failure is feedback. And it's like correcting the course of what you're supposed to be doing. And I think, I had that thought today when I did the training, right? Because we used to do so many trainings back to back to back, and we've kind of slowed down to build out the sales team and stuff. And I realized, I was like, we need to gain that momentum again. Like that is what really built up everything. So we really need to get back and start training on a weekly basis, whether it be Zoom, in person, whatever the case is. 15 people, 20 people, 40 people, 100 people. It doesn't matter. But that momentum, those repetitions, like that speed of going from there to then getting on the phone and doing the sales, like that is what built up the academy, and the biggest months that we had were through there. And that activity you just described is what built your business right now for the podcast. So those are the activities that we need to stay in momentum on. And it's for those of you guys watching, the hardest part is starting. The hardest part is also stopping. So when you start, don't stop. That's why I always talk about the weekends, right? Like you get into great momentum, and then you stop on the weekend, you get drunk on the weekend, and then literally your body until Wednesday is not at 100%. You do Wednesday, Thursday, and then like Friday you're already slowing down. That's why most people never really get to where they want to get to, because of the way that the system's structured. I know it's a completely different topic right now, but with momentum, you need to understand that the highly successful people, they do periods of time. They'll go 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, locked in, take a month off. You know what I'm saying? Like that concept of momentum helps you can accomplish things that would normally take 3 or 4 years in 6 months if you just lock in and you don't take breaks. And then you take an extended break. But most people, what do? They do Monday hungover. That's like 99%. Monday hungover. Tuesday, they're getting back into speed. Wednesday, they're at optimal performance. Thursday, optimal performance. Friday, they're slowing down for the weekend. Saturday, Sunday, get fucked up. Monday, they're picking it back up. Like, instead of just staying in...
I find that hard to believe. Sorry to cut you off.
You're good.
I find that hard to believe because I'm young, and I'm like, I know there's a...
You've never been through it, bro, but literally when I was in the... I'm sorry to cut you off.
No.
Literally when I was in the industry, like my first 2 years, it was like that, bro. I just executed so much, but like I would wake up hungover, like like the first 2 years I would wake up hungover like almost every day. I was drinking 4 to 5 days a week. Imagine normal people, 9 to 5. 9 to 5ers on Monday, they wake up more than likely hungover from their Sunday. Right? Like the people our age, 20, 21 to 30, they're going out on Saturdays and Sundays, Fridays, Saturdays, maybe taking Sunday chill. And they get to peak performance by Wednesday, Thursday. And then Friday, they're already getting ready to go out to drink or do drugs. Friday, Saturday goes out the window. And they can never break that cycle. It's designed that way.
So the last point that I want to touch on, I think we've covered a lot of different things. I hope that it's one of you, of our family, is actually listening attentively, because even if nobody's listening, maybe I want to speak to my future self. I think this is like a timestamp of everything that we're saying, because when we look 5 years from now, if we built and said the things and did the things, it's kind of like, oh, yeah. Wait, how did you do that? Yeah, just watch the video that we did 4 years ago so you can see the way that we were talking.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And on that thought of 5 years leads me to my point 4. Point 4, and the last, and I think the ribbon of the ultimate 4-step guide to believing in yourself, is having the patience. Having the patience. I think that is the last thing, and it's one of the hardest things to teach, and it's one of the things that you don't realize that you have to teach yourself. Patience is, I know I like to say patience is a virtue, but it's not a virtue that you're born with. It's a virtue that you learn. It's a virtue that you teach yourself. It's a virtue that, with all that momentum that's so built up in you, you still have to say, hey, bro, you still got 2 more years. Yeah.
Yeah.
You start getting into that mindset of 10 years and not 10 weeks, 10 days. That is where you start to operate like, oh, okay. So I'm going to still move the same way as if the goal is 10 days away. That same sense of urgency, but I have to have the patience, understanding that the work that I'm putting in today, no matter how hard I'm working, is not going to have any fruits for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest part of self-belief, because, and I wrote down, self-belief alone will not ensure your goal or dream to come true. Patience and faith will.
100%. I agree with that. That's the hardest part of all four. 100% is the patience. And I think to piggyback on it though, let's talk about the flip side, right? Mm-hmm. Patience to get there. But just understand that when you're wired this way, in 10 years from now, when we're literally at the top of the game, we're going to try to find another mountain to climb. You understand that? Like it's a weird game that I'm trying to figure out, where it's like, is it ever going to be enough? And I'm not talking about money. It's like a game. It's like, because you're always trying to find the best version of yourself. And like, for example, look at people like PPD, Grant Cardone. These people are still going at 150%. They're at the top of the game. There's no more mountain to climb. But they're still talking about in 5 years, in 10 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of crazy to think about that. And I understand that now. That's why I'm trying to live more in the moment and be patient and just live out what's happening right now. Because I know in 10 years, we're going to make it no matter what. Yeah. And like, we're going to look back and be like, damn, I wish I would have enjoyed it a little bit more. I wish I would have stressed a little bit less. So I've lately been trying to get better at that patience. I've been trying to like emulate more mentorship from people that are older, that have accomplished what I want to accomplish, that are not getting there, but that have gotten there, been through it, done that, and that are old. I've been trying to like read and learn and watch more people that are at that stage of life and see how they reflected on it. Because I don't want to make the mistake of getting the entire world at the palm of my hands and then being like, I wish I would have just enjoyed the grind more. Because there's some days where I'm like, bro, I can't, I'm overwhelmed. But really, it's like, you asked for this. Enjoy it. Sit in it. Bathe in it. You know?
And I want to piggyback off of that, and I want to end on this because I know your time is tight. Don't mistaken God's waiting period for an abandonment period. Oh my gosh, nothing is happening. What? God, like, what's happening? You know, I'm working so hard, but nothing's... That same period that it's really, really dark may be where the most growth is happening.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe where you're developing the utter belief in yourself that there's no turning back. Because if you were to get the things that you want in 10 days, then you'll be like, Lord, I don't know, bro. Like, I don't know. How do I keep this? Like, bro, the point is that you can't almost... How do I say it? Like, you can't rush, I guess I say, you can't rush the process. Like, you really have to trust that every single day that it feels as if, damn, but today we didn't do anything, damn, but today we didn't close. But damn, that day was perfectly wired the way that it was supposed to be. But just be patient. Think in 10 years, not 10 days. And there's an analogy. I said it in like one of the first videos I ever made when I started content. I have to show you, by the way. I never showed you my first piece of content I made.
I think I went down and I watched it.
No. I like archived it because...
Oh, you never posted it?
But I always say this, and I think it's really powerful. I heard Pastor Mike Todd said it. Think about a Polaroid or an old film thing. Or Polaroid, yeah. You have to take the picture, and if you bring it to light too quick, the image will get distorted. It won't look clear. It won't come out the way you wanted it to come out. But when you allow that picture, sit in the dark. Be patient. When it looks like nothing's happening, when it's dark, that's where the image is being cleared up. That is where that thing that you envision is getting almost perfect to even more and better the way that you want it. And that is the reason that you have to have that level of 10-year patience, because you can't rush the way that the process is going, because God has a perfect plan. Jeremiah 29:11 says that, I know the plans that I have for you are plans to prosper you, not harm you. And if you trust in that, I think there's no losing, bro. There's no losing. You stay consistent, you have patience, you believe in yourself. There's no losing. You know what I'm saying? And I hope
that's a great way to end it.
I think that was the ultimate 4-step guide to believing in yourself, guys. Ideally, I would love to keep running for 2 hours because I know we can keep going, but I know your time is tight. You're busy. He's a busy man. But
He puts it on me.
But guys, I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you did feel like you got just an inch of value, you really enjoyed what you saw, feel free to hit the like button, because I know I never say, I will say subscribe or something, but hit the like button. Try something different. Guys, at the end of the day, it all boils down to those 4 points, right? And I want to read them and reiterate them to you guys again. The point number 1 is where your belief comes from matters, right? Think about that. Belief comes from within. Once you understand that, I think everything in the landscape changes. Number 2, people can either grow or destroy your belief. Guys, your network is your net worth. Not only that, but the same very people that are telling you that you don't pay any mind to, like your dad, your father, your uncle, your friends, that you keep around you, that you constantly hear them say, oh, how's that going? Mocking you or whatever it may be. That's slowly chipping away at your belief because it taps into that subconscious mind that they think it's not that people can grow or destroy it, right? Point number 3, faith without works is dead. As we went deep into that one, I think you can correct me if I'm wrong, but nothing happens without work. Nothing happens without work. And the 4th point, and I think the bow to everything, is patience, guys. Patience. Think in 10 years, not 10 weeks, not 10 months, 10 years. That was an ultimate 4-step guide to the movie. So that's all I have for. I thought that was pretty good.
I thought it was fire.
That was a structured video.
Truly, if you guys want to continue seeing value, we're going to try to put more of these out. Like, comment, subscribe. This is just the beginning. You guys are one of the first few people that are watching this channel before it blows up in the next coming years. We'll see you guys next time.
See you guys on the next one.